The time has finally come. The NBA Finals are right around the corner. It might even be tomorrow, depending on when this video gets uploaded. But we are here to preview and predict the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. PJ, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, bro. Honestly, I have ideas on who's gonna win, but I want to hear what you want to say.
Well, the first thing I want to say is fresh cut. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Getting getting right for the finals.
Of course.
It's about that time. But yeah, I'm excited. I think that from what we've seen in the playoffs, these are the two best teams that we could have gotten. For health reasons or for whatever else might have been going on with other teams. I think that the Mavericks proved they were real. They proved they're a contender, and they deserve to be here. So I'm happy to see them, and I think it'll just be a good battle. Found this graphic. I think this is from I don't know, was this First Take? First things first. I don't know what this is. Some sports talk show. Uh, it is a graphic depicting the stats of the Mavs and the Celtics when they have their top starting lineups in. I'll have it on screen. I'll go ahead and read it out. The Mavericks have gone 27-6, which is almost an 82 win percentage, net rating of plus 10, and the Celtics have gone 31-10 with their best lineup, 75.6 win percentage, and a plus 10.9 rating. So going
I was
strict.
gonna ask you about that, by the way.
What you got?
How's it 31-10? Like, is it like the remainder of the season?
It's like I think any time. I think this is like includes regular season and playoffs. So anytime that they had their like full ideal starting lineup, then they counted as one of these games.
Oh, okay.
So like for the Mavericks, I'm sure it doesn't include any game without Kyrie, any game before they might have had PJ Washington and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I said this isn't a perfect, uh, not a perfect stat graphic for probably one of the reasons you mentioned because we don't know for sure what the what a top starting lineup is. Like I said, I assume it's just when everyone's healthy and when everyone that's on the team right now for the playoffs was in the lineup. So all that to say, going strictly by these numbers, it's actually a lot more even of a matchup than people might think because
Yeah.
the narrative for a lot of it is, the Celtics are like the team. Like those are like that's the
Yeah.
number one. They've been number one in the regular season. They've been number one through everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, are we underrating the Mavs? Like,
I
did
don't think so. It's just a tough. They had a tough conference
they did?
compared to the Celtics.
Well, see, that's well. Okay, here. I'll take that and I'll take it into the first question I had. So
All right.
I think. Oh, I have two. Well, it's a follow up, but
All
pretty
right.
much the first question, which I think I already know the answer to. Uh, do you think that the Celtics, or how about do it the other way? Do you think that the Mavs are the best
Okay.
team that the Celtics have faced in the postseason?
Oh, definitely, 100%. In this postseason,
Yes.
100%.
All right. So now, considering what the path the Mavs took, do you confidently think that the Celtics are the hardest team the Mavs have faced in this playoffs?
Uh, on paper, maybe. I have to say maybe. On paper, maybe. Just because there's like four guards. If you want to count Tatum and Brown as a guard, because they did play guard before. Or I don't know if Tatum has played guard. I know Jaylen Brown has
I
played
don't think
guard.
Tatum has.
But he definitely could play shooting guard if you put him on a certain team. Um, with that lineup that they got, I think it's a mismatch, but I don't think it's hard to say. It's just that their movement ability is really great.
So, because
Uh,
one thing, I think a lot of the narrative is the Mavs haven't played a team like the Celtics. The Celtics are
yeah,
the juggernaut. This is the final boss. That's what a lot of people are saying, including good old Austin Rivers, our favorite quote machine. Uh, he said that the Mavs have not faced a beast like the Celtics. But personally, I think it goes both ways. I think the Celtics have not faced a team even
like the
close to the
Mavs.
Mavs in this
Yeah,
postseason.
in this postseason. I mean, I guess the best argument I could say is the closest team that the Mavs have played that's similar to the Celtics is the Clippers, but they weren't healthy. They're older. They don't have a guy like Kristaps on the Clippers, unless you want to include
No, there's
Daniel, whatever his
no,
fucking last name
no.
is.
There's nobody like
Tice.
Kristaps.
No,
No,
no.
no,
That, I mean, with the starting four, in a sense, that's basically the Celtics, but old.
no. But old. I see what you mean. So
Yeah.
with that question out of the way, now this is a question I definitely wanted to ask somebody like Nate or Louie or somebody that's like been heavy on the Celtics, heavy supporting the Celtics for a while. After seeing the Celtics uh, sweep the Pacers, they swept the Pacers,
Yeah.
but the Pacers had a 90% chance to win in 3 of those games.
Yeah.
Does that series make you more confident going into the finals? Because they did sweep, but
Is this
it was a little scary, a little bit scary.
is this statistics based off if Hallie was playing or it was just
It was like
whoever was
in
playing?
game. It was like in game. Like they
Oh,
had
that's
like the
crazy.
ESPN whatever win projection was like at this very moment in the fourth quarter, they have a 90% chance to win the game.
I don't think so. This is a whole different team we're talking about. Luka and Hallie are two different players. So the fact that the Boston Celtics, if you compare the Pacers to the Mavs, I don't think you're comparing them to the Mavs. I think it's definitely harder than those percentage amount of like winning against the Celtics.
They completed the sweep, but are you happy that they were able to win those close games and complete the sweep? Or are you less confident now since they were even in that position where they had to come back against the Pacers that didn't have Hallie for half the series?
I don't know how to answer that. Like I know what you're trying to say, but I think for me to say that, I think it's the ego the Celtics have for having that sweep. It all comes down to ego and the mentality that they have. Do they believe that they're gonna sweep the Mavs too after going through a sweep? I mean, to be honest, the whole games that they played, it should have been a sweep. Coming from the outcome of what had happened. I mean, who knows if they had Jimmy Butler, it could have been a different series. If they had Jared Allen, it could have been a different series. If they had Hallie, it could have been like Game 6, Celtics take it all. It could have been way different. The Celtics are playing the Mavs, and I think the Mavs have everybody now. Everyone's back. I've seen everyone back in. I mean, if
Yeah.
they had missed on Lively or they missed on Kleber, I don't think it's a big factor when you're playing against the Mavs. They're not missing a huge piece.
I think okay, if they were missing Lively, that'd be pretty bad. But
It's not the worst because they still have Gafford at the helm.
I
He's been
mean,
starting.
I still think Lively's better than Gafford, but I
Oh
mean,
yeah, his potential shows better.
I mean
He's
he's still starting though. Like
yeah.
when he's been there. I mean, they split a lot of it, but you know, he's one of their he I think he's one of the reasons that they play so well because he just fits the team well.
Yeah.
So, for me personally, I don't want to be on the train of they should have won by more. To me, it's more so a concern of what happens if they play against a team that can close out. What happens
Yeah.
if they're playing a team that doesn't turn the ball over twice
Okay, I
under a
got you.
minute, with the lead.
Yeah,
That's my concern of, and this is something I've been going back to throughout the whole playoffs. When we talk about the Nuggets going from the Lakers to the Timberwolves, I was like, that's going to be a little bit harder. When we talked about the Thunder going from the Pelicans to the Mavs, I was like, okay, that's going to be a little bit harder for them to overcome the rebounding deficit. And now that we're here, the Celtics have beaten the Jimmy Butler-less Miami Heat. They've
yeah,
beaten the Jarrett Allen-less, half Donovan Mitchell-less Cavaliers, and they've
yeah.
beaten the Halliburton-less Pacers.
Pacers and Matherin, if you want to
Yeah,
include him too.
yeah. But now they're getting Luka, who has hopefully, I mean, he's definitely looking healthier because
Yeah,
he was missing games in the first series against the Clippers. Now he's gotten 6, 7 days of rest. Now he's coming in and he's walking into Boston, and we know he loves his away games. Like they're fighting such a different beast. I'm worried that it's gonna catch them off guard how different it is compared to everything else they've gone against. That's my bigger that's my biggest concern really, because I can't really
yeah.
poke holes in the roster of the Celtics because they should be fine. Like there surely shouldn't be any issues roster wise. Like they're number one for a reason in terms of record. But
In a
man,
sense, I feel like the Mavs have more role players. I
yeah,
mean, we know them more. I mean, if you
yeah,
want to talk about the Celtics, there's Hauser, Pritchard, but they're not big factors compared to the Mavs whole team.
oh definitely not,
It's just a starting five for the Celtics, and if you want to include Al Horford or Derek White, whoever comes off the bench.
definitely not. Yeah, yeah. So speaking of those role players, somebody's guarding Luca,
Hmm.
and the Celtics have a lot of great options. They
They do.
have Jaylen Brown, Tatum, maybe even Derek White. So, and if you want Drew Holiday, I don't think they should put Drew Holiday on Luca at all though, because Drew Holiday's biggest weakness is tall wings. So
Yeah,
let's not repeat Drew Holiday versus Jimmy Butler
yeah.
from last year. So I think I think you keep Drew on Kyrie,
I
and
agree.
then maybe if you need to switch him a couple times, sure.
I feel
But
like Drew on Kyrie is the best option. I mean, we've
yeah,
seen Kyrie versus Drew before.
yeah,
Um, Honestly, I think yeah, that's the best option. And if you put, yeah, I think it all depends too. Because if you want to have like a revenge game too, like Jaylen Brown could be on Kyrie because Kyrie's played in Boston.
oh yeah, good time. Yeah, we haven't even gotten into that yet, but
Yeah,
we'll get there.
we'll get
Uh,
there because I have something to bring up. I've seen
okay.
some random ass shit, and
Well, for
I
now,
want to bring it up.
to continue the Luca conversation.
Who's guarding Luca? It has to be either Tatum or Brown. It could be anyone on that roster, but the best ones to say is either Brown or Tatum. I'd say Brown though.
I don't know,
Um,
but
I don't know where everyone else would guard. It's because the way how the Mavs have set it out. Dirk Jones and PJ Washington are two different corners. Of course, they're gonna do it like a cut. I don't know. The right play is like a slant or some shit. Someone's gonna cut to the basket. Gafford's gonna come out to the corner, try to pop a three, even though he misses those shots.
so one of the other things I've been talking about this whole playoff run,
Uh huh.
experience. The young teams, they fall apart just because
Yeah.
they're not ready. They just don't know what they should be doing out there. They're not used to the pressure, physicality, whatever. The Mavericks, as a team, I would say, are much younger. They're much less experienced in the playoffs compared to the Celtics. Celtics, they've been running through playoffs for the past however many years.
Yeah.
So by that by that perspective, it makes a lot more sense to bet on the Celtics.
Hmm.
But the role players on this Dallas team have been kind of balling. And to speak on the superstars of Dallas, Kyrie's obviously been here. Kyrie
Yeah.
already has a championship. That's we know that already. But man, I'm gonna pull up Luka's stats during his of his playoffs because man, starting from his second season in the league by 20 years old, 20
Hmm.
years old. He's been this is his fourth playoff run, and in 45 games, keep in mind this he is 25 right now.
Yeah.
He's averaging 31 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 8 assists a game
Damn.
in the playoffs. So the whole the whole pressure and he might not be ready for the situation. I'm ready to throw all that out the window with Luka.
Honestly,
He's
it gives
been
me. It's giving LeBron and Cleveland the first time type of vibe with
he
Luca.
he has been the guy since his second year. He's been putting up
Yeah.
these numbers since his second year in the league at 20 years old. So even though he hasn't been in the finals yet, I'm
Hmm.
ready to just say he can still perform. Like I don't think there's any amount of pressure that could get to him. And
Yeah.
so
I mean, it's Kai and I think Derek Jones has been to the finals too. So like, I
yeah,
mean, Derek Jones wouldn't tell too much to Luca. He would just bring his finals experience.
I mean he's just been here before, which is good, which is good.
I mean, they have a good mindset going. Like, there's not a lot of ego. The only ego they show is like at the final game. So shit. I'm ready for this shit, bro. I'm ready to watch this. I'm ready to see who wins.
All right, so you mentioned you wanted to bring up something about Jaylen Brown. So,
Oh, it's not Jaylen Brown.
oh, it's Kyrie.
No, I had mentioned here. I'll bring it up. Apparently, there's a every former Wizards player has won every year.
What the
I need to bring up this graphic.
Okay. Well, while you do
Right.
that, I'm gonna go ahead and intro the next thing. But we just talked about the superstars, the two leads on the Mavericks. I'm gonna jump to the other side where there have been a lot more question marks between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
We've already had a whole debate on this this podcast about Jason Tatum, and you know, I'm not trying to shit on him. I'm just trying to put into context what happened the last time Tatum was in the finals, because I legitimately think it's the worst basketball I've ever seen him play. Like
Jason Tatum.
legitimately, yes. When he was in the finals against the Warriors, I think that might legitimately be the worst basketball I've seen him play. I could be wrong, but just for reference, in that series in 6 games, he put up 21.5 points, 6 rebounds,
Okay.
7 assists on 36% shooting from the field. Like, it really was not pretty. It really wasn't. I'm not going to say he's the reason they lost that series or anything, but if he does that in this series, his team's in trouble. His team's in trouble. And for this playoffs, he's currently averaging 26 points, 10 rebounds, just under 6 assists, shooting 44% from the field. 44% is not that great.
It's the amount of shots that he shoots though. It's not great. I don't think he wants perfect numbers, but he's putting up a lot of shots.
He's putting up the
And
same amount he's put up the last 5 years.
oh,
And the numbers, even the numbers in the past years have looked worse. Like this is, like this is one of his best years statistically, but he might have to turn it. I mean, there's been, I'm not one of these people. There are people that are saying that Jaylen Brown should just be the number one on this team. They're saying the team runs better through Jaylen Brown. I don't agree with that. I just think I just think the Celtics really, really need Tatum to play like the face of the franchise. They they really need him, bro. Like this is a tough. I feel like this. I really do feel like this is a tougher matchup than we're giving credit for, even us. Like,
yeah.
because obviously you've been rooting for Luka and the Mavs for the whole playoffs.
I'm just been yeah,
So
in the whole West in general.
yeah, so I know that you're on that train, but even for us, it's still kind of like I feel like they match up pretty well against the. I feel like they
Oh
match up
no,
pretty pretty damn well against the Celtics in terms of who's guarding who. Like I don't hate it. Like I think they could do it.
oh no, they definitely do. I can't find the actual graphic, but there's a link that I sent you on.
Okay.
There's been players since 2017. Like I'll name a couple on the top of my mind. Like Otto Porter Jr., KCP,
Right.
um, JaVale McGee winning back to back with the Warriors.
Right.
This year, there's Gafford and Kristaps.
Yeah. It's getting fulfilled either way.
Yeah, so every year, apparently, a Wizards player has won a finals. There was one before. This is off topic. There's one where every team Kelly Oubre has been on has been to the finals. Or not every team. Every team that Kelly Oubre has left has been to the finals the year after.
Hmm.
So like the Suns,
Uh.
the not the Sixers. There's other teams. So one of them is the Suns for sure.
Okay. Fair enough. So we talked about we already talked about the matchups. You know who's guarding Luka, who's guarding Kyrie. And look at on the other side, because I mean the main six people. They're like I said. You mentioned Pritchard and Hauser, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The main six are Derek White, Drew Holiday, Tatum, Brown, Horford, and Porzingis.
Yeah,
Like those are the guys that we're really focusing the matchups on.
yeah.
So I'm curious mostly where they're gonna put or the Mavs are gonna have Derek Lively guard. If they want him on Porzingis or if they want him on Horford, it's strange. It's hard because they both space the floor. So there's not an easy way of keeping him in the paint to help paint protect. So I think that'll definitely be one of the chess matches we see in how they try to in how the Celtics try to neutralize that part of the Mavericks defense.
Um, I think if I was the coach for the Mavs, I don't
You
have
are
the mindset of Jason Kidd,
you are Jason Kidd.
but right now I have to be Jason Kidd.
POV, you are Jason Kidd.
I think Eric Lively has to be guarding. I think it has to be Kristaps. He's the tallest dude on the court. I don't think Dirk Lively's the tallest guy on their team, but I wouldn't want PJ guarding Dirk Lively. I'd rather have PJ guarding Al Horford. All he does is shoot threes. Like that's the most points he got. Is shooting threes. Open threes.
Yeah.
He's always open.
So one thing that people noted during the Heat series is that Kristaps gets really bothered by wings that have like a lot of length, so that like when he's trying to post up, like they kind of just mess with him while he's trying to catch the pass, and then
Wait, who's guarding him then?
it makes him ineffective. So I think there's a world where you could maybe get away with PJ Washington on Kristaps for
Okay.
some stretches. I'm not saying the whole time. But I think you could get away with it. And
Yeah.
then, if you're comfortable leaving Al Horford open, Derek Lively can roam a little bit more freely. But I think that'll be an interesting coaching match that I believe we're gonna see manifest. And then between Tatum and Brown, obviously Derrick Jones is gonna be on one of them. The other ones are
Mm-hmm.
gonna have probably just going to be guarded by Luka, and then Kyrie will take, Drew,
Okay.
which is okay. I get like I think that's fine.
Who's guarding Kristaps in the that Heat series? Is that Jaime Hawkins?
I feel like it was like Caleb Martin, Haywood Highsmith.
I swear Caleb Martin's not that tall. That's why.
I think it's like the length. It's like the arms.
Yeah. The
Yeah. Apparently that's been
Okay.
a thing. I didn't know, but apparently it's been a thing that's always bothered him. Is those the pesky wings that are denying the ball from from behind, just like forcing him to get uncomfortable, that kind of thing. But if Kristaps does get the ball, he could probably just shoot over whoever's there. So
Yeah. He should. He needs that confidence that MPJ has, where he's not contested if someone's if someone's right in front of him. He's much taller than MPJ. You should make that shot. I feel like the only player in the league right now that could give him that weakness is Wemby, but he's not in the playoffs.
no, he is not here in the
Talking
finals.
about length.
Yeah, he's not here in the finals yet. He could have been if the if the Mavericks jumped from 10-1 last year, because that's what the Hawks did this year. But
10-1.
yeah, but speaking of that, the fact that they had that tenth pick was Derek Lively.
That's a
So
perfect pick for them, though.
the fact that they tanked actually ended up working out, even though a
Yeah.
lot of obviously you want to see your team in the playoffs, like
Yeah.
that's Well, the fact that it resulted in one of the key role players, important pieces of this run and potentially just the franchise,
Yeah.
I guess it worked. I don't know. I guess tanking's a good thing.
It
So,
depends. It depends on where your team's at, though. By the way, it's the Mavs. In a sense, they were good with tanking. People were injured last year. I mean, Luka was mad that they tanked, but
yeah,
it
I
was
mean,
good that they tanked.
like I said, he's a rightful, and people, in general, are justified in being mad that they tanked when they were very much in contention for playing.
Yeah,
But in the end, it's better for them.
it worked. It worked
In
out.
the end,
It
yeah,
definitely worked out.
in the end, it was okay. All right, so PJ, we've talked
Yeah.
about pretty much every important role player. We didn't really talk about again Maxi Kleber or Tim Hardaway Jr. or like those. We don't want to see those guys that often.
Not
They'll
Tim Hardaway.
yeah, they'll make it on. They'll be on the court, but we hope they're not key pieces to the puzzle. If they are, either something is going very right or something's going very wrong. We're hoping they're just there to give some people a breather. That's cool.
Hmm.
My question to you, what do you think is the X factor, the swing factor? What's the thing that's going to win the series for the Mavs or the Celtics? What is the piece where if it goes right, it's a win. If it goes wrong, it's a loss.
Honestly, it's all based off of like for the Mavs. I think it's the way how Luka plays. Um, we see him moving the ball much more. Plus, he's playing hurt, so like, I'm not trying to handicap him or anything, but it's the way how Luka plays, and we need to see how Kyrie plays too. I hope he plays like he's played against the Timberwolves. That was his like best scoring for that round. So in the finals, if he shows up and he shows like a 2016 Kyrie, I would love to see it. For the Celtics, well, Brown always shows up the first two games. Tatum shows up in the first away game. But for Pacers, it's also the last away game. Uh, the ones that we need to see the most, we need to see Kristaps. I think Kristaps is the only guy we got to think about because it's a new chemistry. He hasn't played in the last two series. They need to not figure out how to play with him again, but it's just a different vibe when he's on the court compared to when they had Al Horford in the starting center.
I feel you. And before I give my opinion, real quick, this is the revenge series. Kyrie Irving
Yeah.
is coming back to Boston. I mean,
Porzingis is coming back to the Mavs.
there's no actual bad blood there. There's actual bad blood between Kyrie and Boston.
Oh, definitely with
So,
Boston. But
it's
it's Boston.
crazy if you rewatch that clip of Kyrie on the Nets stomping on the Celtics logo. The Mavericks logo is in the back on like one of the on the little scores table ads,
Yeah,
the Mavs logo is behind
it
him.
was meant to be.
It's crazy.
Meant to be.
So hey,
Definitely meant.
if you're a narrative person, that's the big one. That's the one you want to see. You trying to see if Kyrie's really about to go Super Saiyan against the team that he declared that he would be coming back to, that he would be re-signing. He wasn't going anywhere, and then he left. So hey, if you want toxicity, look no further. This will do it for you. For me, for the X Factor, I agree with you. I think Kristaps is can be the winning piece for the Celtics.
Yeah.
The fact that somebody has to guard him, the fact that he can space the floor, it's invaluable to this team. Like the fact that you can't have Lively camping out the paint as much since both bigs can shoot threes. That's
Mm-hmm.
huge. And it just gives them more depth because honestly, you look at the Celtics, that's a top heavy team.
It
Like
is.
once you get past the sixth man, we're talking about Peyton Pritchard, we're talking about Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett. No disrespect to them, but you don't want them getting heavy minutes in the finals. You really don't. Like those guys are not that good. Just straight up. So this is a top heavy team. So having another one of the top pieces back is going to do
Yeah.
wonders for them. For the Mavs, I think the X factor is can the role players continue to hit their open threes? If PJ
Right.
Washington can keep knocking down the corner threes, if Derrick Jones Jr. can keep knocking down the corner threes, and this all circulates back to Luka, because
Mm-hmm.
he's the one distributing, he's the one
He's a
hitting them,
playmaker.
hitting them in the hands, right in the pocket, you know, easy warm up shots.
Yeah.
If they can keep hitting those, because like I said, Luka, we're not worried about the pressure, but a lot of the other role players on the Mavs are young, or they just haven't been this far in the playoffs. So I'm more concerned about them. Can they keep up their performance of the rest of this playoffs? Like fucking PJ Washington hitting 50% of his corner threes. Like, is that going to keep happening? Like, we don't know. Like, I think it definitely fell off in the last series, but
Yeah, because the
still,
defense is different.
yeah. Still, if he's getting the open looks, can he just keep hitting them? And if he can, man, because Luke is going to be on. If everyone else is on too, yeesh, scary. But now it's time. PJ,
It is time.
it's your official prediction.
My official prediction. I
Let
should
the
have said
people
this
know.
earlier when we were talking about
No,
the
it's fine.
series wise.
No, it's
You
fine.
could probably bring it back over there. I was thinking that I definitely think the Mavs can take it all in six. My reason is we already talked about the Celtics having one of the most easiest series on the East because the East is not that tough. I mean, you look at the Mavs. The Mavs they beat the Clipper team, the old man team, even though Kawhi was barely there. They beat the number one seed in the West. Nate had said it in a podcast we had before. They have beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, the best defensive team in the league. That also had beat the defending champs and the sorry ass Phoenix Suns. So it's like Luka had shown up. Jason Kidd, I must say this: he's playing a team. Well, he's not playing. He's coaching against a team that reminds him that reminds him of the Miami Heat 2011. He's beat a team kind of like that. So in the sense, I feel like he can really put the right players on the right people. So when we're talking about Porzingis, I just thought about it. When we're talking about Porzingis, he knows what to do with that. There's a guy like that on the Heat. His name was Chris Bosh. So
Interesting, interesting comparison.
I don't want to compare LeBron James to anybody. It could be
Well,
Tatum. It
yeah,
could be Brown.
right.
You could say
Yeah,
D Wade could be either or Dirk Lively, Dirk White or Drew Holiday, and there could be like big shots in there, like Mario Chalmers type of guy or something. Could be Derek White, to be honest. So
I
yeah,
don't know all
like
that.
it's weird comparisons, but in a sense, he's played a super team like that. That's been number one. That has been saying that they could win the chip. Blah blah blah. I believe that the Dallas Mavericks will take it in six. We've heard Louis already say it. The Celtics will take it in six. I don't know if we got Nate saying Celtics in five. It depends on what team that they play. I have the Mavs in six for sure. If Charles Barkley said that the Celtics were gonna win, I believe the Mavs will win in six. He already said Minnesota in like four, and look what we got.
The only time he was right is when he picked the Bucks to win. That was the
I
only
think the
time.
only time he was right was Game 7 against the Nuggets. So that's the only time I'm gonna say he was right.
He got the Bucks championship one right somehow.
Okay.
But he did though. Uh, Before I say mine, I do want to give a little bit of credit to Jason Kidd because he has done well. I think we're not nuanced. We don't have a nuanced enough understanding of basketball to know everything he's doing in
Yeah.
coaching. But the adjustments we can see, just things like not guarding Josh Giddey from three, blitzing Anthony Edwards, which the Nuggets were already doing, but not letting Anthony Edwards get into his rhythm, like all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff. He's coaching this team well. His rotations are getting right.
Mm-hmm.
He has learned how good Lively and Gafford are. And
Yeah.
real quick, I saw a stat that the Mavs this playoffs, they have like 54 or 59 dunk alley oops this playoff run,
Wow.
and that's
Like
more
that.
than every other playoff team combined. So
It's lively right there.
it's
Lively
lively
Derek
and
Jones.
it's lively.
TJ.
It's Gafford. It's Derek Jones. It's all those guys. Luka's setting them up, man. Like those are a high efficiency shots, and like Derek Lively didn't miss a single shot in the Western Conference Finals. He went
Off
16.
topic, is that more than the Lob City Clippers?
I have no idea what they got in the playoffs. I don't know what they were doing. I have
Because
no
this is
idea what they
Lob
were
City
doing.
right here.
Yeah, oh yeah. Right, we'll get to that in a second. But for my prediction, so I feel like this can go a few ways. I think if it goes to 7, it's the Mavs. I think Lucas just takes over if it goes to 7 at all. Um, but to be on the other side, since you're the resident Luka Doncic MVP voter, I'll
Mm-hmm.
say it's Boston in 6. However, I
Surprised you said
think
that.
game one, I think game one, the Mavs might smack them. I think there's a very high chance the Mavs smack the Celtics game one, just because, like we said, Celtics have not faced a team like the Mavs at all in this playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. They've seen nobody even close to Luka and Kyrie. So I think there's a very good chance that they just are kind of taken aback by how good they are. But who knows? If they can get right mentally, which has been one of the biggest issues with the Celtics, but they've been here multiple times. This is their, Tatum. This Tatum's like the fastest player to get to 100 playoff games. I think is some stat like that. They have the experience. If there was ever a time, if there was ever a time, it should be now. But if they go down 2-0 at home, God forbid. If they go down 2-0 at home, it's over.
Yeah,
If
that's the
they,
only.
that's not like I said. They don't have
I
to.
don't. I don't think they will. I mean,
Yeah,
in the last. I mean, you can say the first two. I don't want to count the Timberwolves. But the first two games against the Clippers and the Thunder, it's been always 1-1.
yeah,
But the Dallas Mavericks has never seen a Game 7 this series or this playoffs this year.
yeah. They have
So
the Thunder.
no, they have not. I
The
just
Thunder.
checked.
Really? The Thunder. The Thunder was over in 6.
Yeah,
In that
remember
7?
we could have seen a Game 7 with the Mavericks. Yeah, they
Oh
won
yeah,
four
you're right.
two.
Yeah, you're
They've
right.
never seen a Game 7.
Okay.
They
Well.
should have had a game 7 though. I mean, for sure Mavericks would have won.
Well.
But I remember we were having this conversation. You're like,
Okay.
oh, because I was telling you about the last game 7. So if you want to watch that together,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and then the Mavs ended up winning.
Okay. Well. Regardless, I don't think. I'm not saying the Celtics are going to go down 2-0 from starting at home. If they do, the series is over. But I think that is a very good chance they are not prepared game one. That has been, and the Celtics are always due for a dud game. Jason
I think
Tatum,
it's game 2
Jason Tatum will
that you're
give you a
thinking
dud
about.
game at some point. I don't know
The
when, but he
the
might.
Celtics. Okay, you're right on the money about the Celtics are not prepared for the Mavs. I think game 2 they definitely lose because apparently the first 2 rounds they've lost to teams. The Heat, bro. The
Okay, I know
fucking
that,
Heat.
but I'm not gonna take that and be like that means they have to lose game two this time because
No,
their best game against the Pacers was game two.
well, yeah.
So that's
Didn't
why
Hallie just get hurt?
he got hurt that game, but still, the other three games were way closer than game two.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
I just think that it's very possible that they split home and then they have to split the away games in Dallas. So if you're going down 3-1 to Luka, I don't like your odds. I don't like your odds, I'll be honest. That's not a great recipe. But I will officially go. I'll say Boston in 6. I'll say it. Just so you know. So we can be on opposite sides of history.
Do you really want them to win in 6?
I didn't say that's what I wanted. I said that if they
Can I hear the real answer? I want to hear the Mavs. What do you think?
what? I think the Mavs can win any from 5 to 7. I think the Mavs could. I see the world where they win in 7, or they win in 6, or they win in 5. I
In
don't think.
paper, the Celtics could.
Yeah, of
On
course,
paper, the
of
Celtics
course.
should be able to win.
But knowing the players, if it goes to Game 7, if we're in Boston for Game 7, Luka's dropping 50. If we're in Boston for Game 7, Luka's
Giannis type
dropping
of game.
50, and the game's over. I'm like that shouldn't even be debatable. That should be cut and dry. Like once Luka turns it on, it's over. Which is why I don't think Boston can win in 7, because they won't win Game 7, but they can win in 6, and they might have to. I think, and maybe it is, maybe the Boston defense is just so good that it's Boston in 5. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I could see 6. I
Here,
could see
look.
6.
This is not an off-season episode, but let's say the Boston Celtics fail to beat the Mavericks. What
Okay.
do we do there? Do we keep the same pieces? Do we keep on trying the double Jalen duo?
Oh.
I I
Well,
mean you just what he my bad. I'm fucking stuttering.
hey, you're good, bro.
What's his name? Drew Holiday. He just got an extension. I know you keep Derek
Oh, he
White.
did.
What do you do? Do you keep this Jalen duo?
I didn't know that
No.
they kept him. Or I didn't know they extended him.
I think they did.
Let me look
I
at
believe they
this.
did.
Let me look at this. So it seems like everybody is under contract next year. I think this is correct. Everyone is pretty much all the core pieces are under contract next year for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, in the East, I think you just have to keep trying. Like I don't know if there's a move. I mean, you never know. We'll see who becomes available. But I have a hard time seeing the move. Like you're already the best team in the East, like comfortably. Like
Comfortably.
very comfortably. If you run the same team back next year, you're 100% the best team still. Unless
Yeah.
unless the Sixers do something crazy, whatever. They get LeBron, they get maybe. But I'm not gonna count on that. But I
Has
don't
there been
know.
a team that lost twice in the finals with the
Uh,
same core, but haven't won? But haven't won
I
yet.
don't
Are
know.
we gonna say the Jazz?
I mean, hey, I mean that's hey, maybe. Well, I just don't think they should. They should trade unless it's something insane. I don't think they should. They should
I'm
blow it
saying
up.
it first. I believe that's going to be a conversation on NBA First Take.
Hey,
They're
well,
going to say, oh, I think it's time for blah, blah, blah to pack their bags and look for a new team.
all right. Well, we've given our predictions. We've leaked into a conversation we're likely going to have once the finals are over. Not likely, but we might have once the finals are over. Doing our off-season videos. Subscribe for that. But this was our official predictions. PJ has Dallas in 6. I have Boston in 6. But I'm hoping for Mavs in 5.
That's what
But
I wanted to hear.
hey, listen, I grew up around Lakers fans. I have a natural hatred for the
For
Celtics.
Boston.
I can't hate
Yeah.
it. I can't help it. It is what it is. So, anyways, this is our finals preview. At some point, we're gonna do a live reaction. I don't know when. I don't know when we'll be free to do that, but we'll be together in the same room
Ooh,
to do a reaction at some point.
soon.
At some point
Um,
during this finals, we'll see when. We both got stuff going on. It is what it is. But this is the Hooper Soul podcast. I'm your host Jacob. With my wonderful co-host PJ. We will see you soon. And I hope Jason Tatum loses. Peace out.
Peace.